2NURFM.com, a broadcast service of the University of Newcastle.
Speaking of people who do really terrific things, there's lots of people here at the University of Newcastle who do great things and we regularly speak to them. But also there are people who used to attend this university and we like to recognise them. They're called our alumni. And joining us to talk about the finalists for this year's Alumni Awards, Rosemary Thomson, who is the Associate Director for Alumni and External Relations at the University of Newcastle. Good morning, Rose.
Good morning, Meryl.
Nice to have you back in again.
Oh, it's wonderful to be here and it's always great to talk about our graduates. They're doing such amazing things.
It is great, isn't it? So we were mentioning, 6-8 weeks ago that the Alumni Awards were coming up, encouraging people to nominate.
Mm-hmm.
And there are way too many nominees for us to mention in a short time frame this morning. So we thought we would go to the cream of the crop, the medalists. We have 4 finalists. Can you tell me about them, Rosemary?
I can indeed. Look, the first one we might talk about is Emeritus Professor William Cayley, AO. He was a very early student and graduated with a Bachelor of Science in 1966. So he would have transferred in as one of the early institutions and then come into the autonomous university and graduated from there. Look, Bill went on and really he's had 50 years in the information and communications technology field, but he's been really a pioneer and he's now globally recognised as an information assurance expert. So he's consulted across the world really to help institutions, governments set up how they will manage this, and of course it's an increasingly challenging field.
And an emerging field, really. He's possibly been right at the forefront of this information communication. And look, let's face it, 50 years ago when the university was first starting off, there were jobs thought of in the future. No one knew about these kind of jobs. I mean, they weren't real. You know, people were still paid with money in a pay packet each week, and the communication era has just changed so much.
Yeah, so for a scholar to remain in the forefront and out in practice in the forefront is quite astounding. Bill's coming down from Queensland for the alumni homecoming, but also, of course, for the awards dinner. The next is Professor Edwin Galea. Now, Edwin's based in the UK and he did a PhD with us in mathematics in 1985, and he took this work into the field to become a world leader in computational fire engineering research. And he's the founding director of the Fire Safety Engineering Group at the University of Greenwich in the UK currently. But he's also the global vice chair of the International Association of Fire Safety Science. So this is also a tremendously important field in particular countries like Australia, and the US, and where fire is really a significant national interest. So his research and his influence on how fire safety is occurring across not just wildfires or bushfires, but just for the general safety of populations and urban fires is tremendous. And then we've got a homegrown finalist, which is really exciting in our 50th year, and that's Laureate Professor Kevin Galvin, who did a Bachelor of Engineering with us in 1987. And Kevin's success has been in establishing a major breakthrough in fine particle work via the reflux classifier technology, and this has led to him having worldwide recognition in that field and across industry. But really, if I can explain that, it's gravity separation of valuable material from waste ore, solving a previously intractable problem. And in 2014, last year, he was recognised as one of the 100 most influential engineers in Australia. So it's really nice to have a local professor on, laureate professor.
That is particularly important and not to be underestimated, because just taking ore, for example, if you can have it as pure and clean as possible for export, it's most valuable.
Yes.
And also you get right down then into things like emissions and dust and all that stuff. So it is pretty impressive work that he has done.
Right, indeed. And then the final, fourth finalist is not to be underestimated by any means, Dr. Anthony Lineham, a Bachelor of Medicine graduate from 1993. Now, he's a really interesting one. He's a maxillofacial surgeon, and researcher, and he was actually the foundation director of AO Oceania, which is an organisation that trains surgeons across the world in surgical skills and in trauma care. But this guy is also a bit of I like to call them overachievers once they get to medal finalist status. But he's also Queensland's State Minister for State Development and the Minister for Natural Resources and Mines. And I was speaking to Anthony when I was at an alumni event in Brisbane recently, and he's actually still researching. He still has a couple of days of clinical practice, and he's running these two major portfolios. So, yeah, these once they get to be medal finalists, they really are incredibly capable.
Oh, of course.
And experts in their fields. It's amazing.
As we've said, we've only mentioned the medal finalists today. Rose, would you book a date with me in another few weeks and come back and we'll touch on some of the other categories and some of the other finalists and their interesting research and stories and achievements?
Yes.
Because honestly, there are so many terrific people coming out of Newcastle University. We can't acknowledge every single person in 5 minutes. So today we've started with the medalists, as we've said, but there are also other categories, the Indigenous category,
Right.
the young researchers category, and also just
leadership categories,
yes,
and
lots
community service. And
Yeah.
don't forget, it's the 40th year of the Newton-John Award around creativity. And this the graduates of this university have always contributed in a major way into that space as well. So it's a great set of awards. And this year at Merrill, of course, we're moving from City Hall to the Great Hall in acknowledgement that it's our 50th year, and we can have more guests. So if people are interested, they can go online to the website, and if they just hit the Alumni and Community tab up the top and go through to awards, they can purchase tickets and come along, because I think it's shaping up to be one of the major celebrations of our 50th year.
And as well as that, it's going to be the homecoming for the alumni gala dinner, and so that'll be all tied in with the awards ceremony, and the one and only John Doyle being the MC for the evening will make it even just so much more entertaining and exciting. I'm sure people will have a wonderful night.
Yes, he's rather special himself, isn't he? So look, if anyone has trouble on the website, they can call Lauren, who's the project manager for the awards, and her number is 4985-4274, and she'll help anyone that's interested in being engaged with this project.
Wonderful. Rose Thomson, who is the Associate Director of Alumni and External Relations for the University of Newcastle, talking to us today about the finalists for this very special 50th anniversary alumni dinner and gala presentation. Thanks, Rose.
You're welcome.